Good afternoon. Welcome back. Dan Delmar and Robyn Flynn in for Aaron today. He is back tomorrow. Coming up this hour, we're going to talk a little bit about working from home. So a lot of people may be starting new jobs, or maybe employers are insisting on you getting back to the office a bit more. I know there's some rumors in the public service, especially at the federal level, that managers wanting people in office more than out of office this fall. So that's coming up. We'll go to the phones on that. We'll also talk about credit delinquencies on the rise, credit issues on the rise among young adults in Canada. That's all this hour, so stay tuned for that. But first, McGill University has had a rough few weeks, certainly. We've had the protests, of course, over the weekend. More protests. The sod on McGill was kind of ripped up by some protesters there. There is, probably donation issues that the university is going to have to face in the coming months as a result of all the political controversy there. There's the issue with the provincial government and, of course, rising costs related to international students. So a lot going on with McGill, and they have a labor conflict on the docket as well with their lawyers, with the teachers of professors of law at the university. Kirsten Anker is the VP of the Association of McGill Professors of Law and joins us now. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm excellent.
So we had a decision regarding this conflict just in the past couple of days. A tribunal found, this is from the Canadian Press, that the university violated the labor code in Quebec when they decided to send two emails to law professors criticizing the union, this according to an August 30th decision. Is it fair to say that McGill didn't seem really thrilled with the idea of a law professor union to begin with?
That's to say the least. They have been challenging our right to certify right from the beginning. So on the one hand, while we've been trying to negotiate with them to get a collective agreement for the last year and a half, on the other hand, they've been contesting that certification in the courts and are taking the same approach to the Faculty of Arts and the Faculty of Education, whose members are also trying to form a union.
The Law Professors Union was certified a couple of years ago, November 2022, by the Labour Tribunal, but the university is challenging that certification in a Quebec Superior Court hearing later this year. Why do you think that is? Why are they trying so hard to not negotiate with you guys as a union?
Right. Well, their argument is that the faculty level is not the appropriate level for a union. So certainly most universities tend to be unionized across the whole university, but there are examples. There are, at Sherbrooke, the engineers have their own union, and at York University, the lawyers have the law professors have their own union. So it's not without precedent. But of course, this is a classic employer argument to criticize, attack the level of the union just to undermine the possibility of a majority. So it's, they're very unlikely to succeed. But in a way, that may not be the end game, because there's this ongoing strategy to kind of wear us out, to push us through these legalistic processes. Instead of just sitting down and negotiating with us, we have some very reasonable asks related to participation in governance and salaries in keeping with the cost of living rises and so on. But just to give you an idea, the lawyer who is representing them was the lawyer who succeeded in squashing the union at Walmart. So that dragged on through the courts for many years, and he actually lost the case at the Supreme Court. But in the process, he managed to exhaust and fracture the union movement. So that may be their aim. Students have asked me this in the last week while we've been on strike. Why is the university doing this? It seems to be a fundamental constitutional right of association that you're exercising. And it's pretty difficult to answer. There's possibly some personal ideological commitments in the mix for these administrators. Certainly they think their job will be easier without a professors' union, but it's not like they're a cutthroat corporation trying to squeeze the highest profits from workers. They're in an institution of higher learning with the mission to uphold fundamental values like freedom of speech and association. So to us, it doesn't make sense that they would try and engage this fight. It doesn't serve the university's mission, and we think it's an unconscionable waste of student and public monies.
Kirsten Anker joins us, VP of the Association of McGill Professors of Law. Are you folks teaching law at McGill not currently part of the general union covering professors?
So there is no general union covering professors at McGill. We are the first.
Okay.
Whereas other universities in Quebec, most of them unionized in a wave back in the 70s. McGill, for various reasons, did not. And so, we think it should just be normal part of any workplace to have a union, and that's why we're trying to get this off the ground.
And how many faculties are unionized at McGill?
We're the first. The others have applied. There's two others, as I mentioned, who've applied for accreditation, but McGill is challenging them as well. So currently, we're the only ones.
It must be interesting to be a law student at McGill right now while this is going on, and sort of viewing it from you're learning to become a lawyer, and you're watching the people that you're learning from, exercise their constitutional rights to be able to unionize, and seeing the school push back. I would think that this almost becomes something of a teachable moment for the students.
Oh, that's exactly right. We've had a lot of support from students who kind of understand what we're trying to do here. Others, of course, are concerned about, what falling behind or whatever, and that's understandable. But it's really a very good moment to be showing not just what law in action looks like, because you can have your rights on the books, but then when it comes time to actually negotiate in reality, there's a lot more politicking. There's a lot more kind of horse trading and things like that goes on. So it's interesting for that reason. But also, I think, one of the most touching comments I got last week from a student was that actually the strikes didn't bother them because they could see that we actually cared enough about the faculty to fight for it, and that made them excited to be there. So I think we're showing them not just kind of a narrow sense of law as based in book learning, but an understanding that law works through people coming together and making things happen, and sort of having a commitment to an engaged community.
So this is not a comment about the idea of unions for professors in general. I hope that you make some progress with your struggle, but just in terms of where McGill is at right now today, as I mentioned, for various reasons, this university is embattled in terms of its management as well as financially. Is this the best time for it to be sitting down with teachers and offering them more money just in terms of dollars and cents? It looks like, to me, the revenue will be going down.
Yeah, to be honest, the money is not front and center. It never has been. It's really, our movement has always been about getting a greater say, participating in a more democratic governance for the faculty. So that's been the core of our proposals. Of course, we did have a salary proposal, but actually the Friday before the strike was announced, we decided, the background to this is that they have applied to go to arbitration, and we think it's not in good faith. We think it's part of a strategy to delay getting a collective agreement and be able to get through to a hearing, trying to challenge our accreditation. But we've agreed to put all the monetary matters to the arbitrator, so that would not be in our hands, and simply get a collective agreement around what has already been agreed to on the governance on the non-monetary side. I don't know if there's ever a best time to be, trying to engage in a movement like this. There's always going to be some reason why the university says it doesn't have enough money, but you just have to look at the soaring salaries of administrators compared to the stagnating salaries of everyone else to have a little doubt about the credibility of saying that they don't have any money.
Kirsten Anker, VP of the Association of McGill Professors of Law. They are protesting the moves by McGill to basically not negotiate with this newly formed union. Best of luck with your negotiations and the, I guess, remaining legitimate in the eyes of McGill. It's a very tough task.
Yeah, thank you.
Kirsten Anker from the McGill Law Professors Association there.